You know, in my 15 years as a ham radio operator, the one constant in my world has been change. And not just change, but evolution. And I think we're getting ready for another evolution in the K6UDA saga of ham radio. Stick around, we'll talk about it this time on K6UDA Radio. Let's do this. Guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Bob K6UDA, host of the K6UDA radio show and K6UDA Guns and Ham Radio over here on rumble.com. I invite y'all to come watch us on Rumble and hit that subscribe. I'd love to get over 2,000 subs over here on Rumble. And for that matter, working on 50,000 over on YouTube. Please give us a like, thumbs up, comment on the video if you see fit, and share it if you can. Anyway, today we are talking about evolution. Not the Darwin kind of evolution. Oh, we came from apes or we came from bacteria. I don't know. No, we're talking about evolution in ham radio. Years and years back, it started as spark gap and then it went to telegraph and it progressed eventually into AM broadcast and then sideband and FM and all the things, all the modes and bands that we have now. And for me, it started off kind of humbly. I started off as a tech, worked my way up to a general, and then eventually to an extra. And the one thing that I always wanted, like most of you guys starting out want, is the most bang for my buck. The all-in-one shack in the box. I really wanted that. The first shack in the box that I bought was a Yaesu 897. And I quickly grew to freaking hate that radio. The user interface on that radio was absolutely freaking horrible, horrendous, hated it. It was a little tiny screen about that big, about the size of an average handheld now. And it was horrible. It was horrible to navigate. It was horrible to find the settings that you were looking for. And I quickly found something new. I found the ICOM 9100 with a big, beautiful display. It was an all band, all mode, did D-Star on HF. I thought that was freaking the end of the world. Beautiful. So I bought the 9100. I had that in my shack. That was probably the first formidable radio that I had in my shack. The next big thing was color screen. Hey, I bought a used ICOM 7600 and I picked up a 1,000-watt amplifier and I was happy, happy, happy. Fantastic radio. I really enjoyed it, but it didn't do D-Star over HF. And at that time, I was really getting big into the D-Star thing. And I really enjoyed D-Star over HF. Found another radio, the ICOM 7100. I bought one of those and I kept the 7100, the 7600. A couple of years goes by and my uncle Fred, W6 or W7LQL now. He was upgrading and he had a K3. He had the whole K3 line. So anyway, Uncle Fred hooked me up with the K3 setup and I to this day still have the K3 setup. It's out in Studio B right now. That's my main contest rig. So throughout the years, other things had changed. I wanted to do ham radio while I was in the motorhome, and I eventually bought the KX3. And the KX3 was a marvel. It was a QRP radio. I bought the QRP radio, and I eventually bought a 100-watt companion amp for that radio. And there was another thing called the PX3, which was a waterfall display for the KX3. And I thought this was the greatest thing in the world. Several years goes by operating on that. And the ICOM IC705 comes out. Woo! Ooh, it don't get any better than that. So I buy a 705, and I love the 705. I've had that 705 now for several years, and I've used it, and I've adapted the Elecraft 100-watt amp to work with that one, and that's my main take it in the motorhome and do things with it. When I wanted to really take it on the road and go do parks on the air, and maybe go activate 2 or 3 parks in a day, setting up portable antennas becomes kind of a pain in the ass. And earlier this year, I picked up a new antenna. This is that new antenna. This is the Yaesu ATAS 120, ATAS automatic telescoping antenna system 120 here. Very small footprint. This mounts to the back of the Jeep really, really well. I mean, it looks like it was made for it. Beautiful, beautiful antenna. The one thing I didn't realize when I bought this antenna was it is made specifically for a Yaesu radio, for not just a Yaesu portable radio, but even like the FTDX10 has the capability of turning the external tuner function over to an ATAS tuner function, which it sends an electrical current to the antenna through the coax, and it'll raise or lower the antenna according to the band and the frequency that you're on. Now, because the IC705 is an ICOM radio and it doesn't have a ATAS external antenna tuner option, you've got to do something either like a manual antenna ATAS tuner like this from MFJ. Good luck getting one of these because, MFJ, no more. So, went online. I found this one on eBay. I've done a couple of videos on it. This is the AX17 Pro. It works really good, and it kind of turns my IC705 into a radio that will somewhat approximate what the Yaesu ATAS setting on a Yaesu radio does. After operating this a couple of times, here is what I figured out. In order to operate the IC705 with an amp and the AX17, or even the MFJ manual antenna controller, I need to have an extra battery. I've got to have ports enough to plug in all these devices. And that, my friends, makes a world of hurt when it comes to all the wiring and crap that you gotta have to make this thing run. So I'm thinking to myself, Bob, how can you evolve this whole system instead of having all these devices sitting around on the passenger seat of the Jeep, which makes it virtually impossible if Mrs. K6UDA was along with me to comfortably operate and do everything from the passenger seat. And I think, wow, what if I bought a Yaesu radio that I could use in the field that has 100 watts built in, that does everything that I want to do. This is the Yaesu 891, currently produced. It is getting very, very popular these days with POTA guys just because it does exactly what I said. HF plus 6 meters in this box. You can use the ATAS antenna. It has that built right in. I modified mine to put power poles directly to the back so I could stick this in a case very, very cleanly. I don't have anything sticking out of the back on this. My problem, once again, I hate the freaking interface on this radio. This is the worst. Absolutely horrible. I can't stand it. I would rather use the 705 and hook up the amp and do everything. And instead of this, I will take this with me on a 100-watt radio. If I really want to do a quick activation and I really want a minimal amount of stuff with me. But really, it is a pain in the ass. And honestly, the ATAS component of this radio, it isn't perfect. It really isn't. And I'm going to do a whole ATAS video, and I'll get into that whole bit. But this wasn't perfect. But it brings me to my next evolution. Guys, this weekend at Hamvention, they are introducing and releasing Yaesu's newest radio. This is the FTX1. And it's kind of a QRP portable radio, but if you get the Optima package or you buy an amp, it's a full 100-watt system. And it looks, and I haven't seen it yet, but it looks to be kind of like the front of an FTDX10, but instead of being the FTDX10 HF 6 meters on this radio, it is all band, all mode with fusion. So I could conceivably, with that radio and the 100-watt option on that radio, replace 2 radios with 1 radio here in Studio A. I could conceivably take it on the road with the 100-watt configuration and run the ATAS antenna port and do everything automatically. It does have the new Yaesu menuing systems, which I love almost as much as the ICOM. It does fusion, so I can operate my repeater and I can operate on my repeater right from that radio, take it with me, do the same thing. I don't know what else I can do with it because I don't have the radio. It was just released. I hadn't paid much attention to it up until this last week. I saw some videos about it, and now there's 1 or 2 videos out in the wild with guys that have gotten it. I know Josh over at Ham Radio Crash Course, he bought one from HRO day 1 when it got released. I called my connection over at HRO, and they say they could probably get me one on Tuesday. Today's Saturday, probably order it on Tuesday, pay them. I could conceivably have this new radio in my hands by Thursday or Friday of next week, and I could evolve the way I do ham radio once again until the next latest, greatest thing comes out. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will catch you on the next one. And don't forget, you could catch me on Rumble, and I wish you would watch me on Rumble. And if you're interested in preparedness at all, catch me Saturday mornings on Rumble, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, Rumble facebook.com/K6UDA. Be there. That would be really, really cool. Guys, I will catch you the next time. I'm Bob K6UDA, and that's it. I'm out of here. 7-3.